Hey there, welcome to the show. My name is Cary Weston. I'm your host, and today we're going to tackle a topic that, boy, is oh so common and really hasn't changed much in the last 20 years, and that's redesigning or building a website and not wasting money doing it. So the name of the episode here is Don't Waste Money. If you're going to redesign the website, don't waste money. And right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, does that mean that building or redesigning a website is wasting money? It is not. But I can't tell you, honestly, I can't tell you one other thing that I can recall in my 25 years of doing this where people waste more money than on website designs. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the things that I see, the things that I hear, the things I want you to think about. I'm going to give you some tools and resources. If you're in a position right now where you're thinking of redesigning or designing a site or building a site for your business, I'm glad you found this episode because I want you to think about some things that will keep you from wasting money and, even more importantly, will help you spend time, money, and resources in a much more effective way. So if you do design the site, or you do redesign the site, or you do take a look and modify the site that you have, you're doing it with purpose. You're doing it for things that will make a significant difference to your sales process and to your business as a whole. Okay. So on the website, practicalmarketingshow.com, with this episode, I'm going to link some resources. I have a series of articles on the website that are categorized under website success series. Okay. And what I've done is I've broken down the advice that I have given the most, the best practices that I've followed the most, the things that have worked, the things that I've seen work, right? The issues that typically come up and the things that people either overlook or don't pay attention to. And I've broken them down into individual articles. Okay. So I'm going to link that on the website with this episode so you can take a look at individual things. You're going to find articles on messaging, on navigation, on contact forms, on video, on pricing, all that stuff. Okay? Because it's important that you really see the website for what it is, and that's a sales tool, or should be a sales tool. Okay, so let's start there. The most common phrase when people come and say, "I need a website," right? I need to find a new website. I need to build my website. I say, why, right? What's the goal? It's either horrible, doesn't work, hard to use, looks bad, all those things. And I say, okay, but why? Like, why are you doing this? This is going to spend time and money. Why are you doing this? And there's really three things that it all boils down to. Number one, in some way, shape, or form, the website's not performing. It's not bringing in new customers. It's not bringing in new leads. It's not bringing in new inquiries, right? And so people share that in a number of different ways. It's not working that way. Number two, the sales team. Now, I understand you listening. You may have a 20-person international sales team, or you may be the salesperson as well as the purchasing agent, as well as the HR director, as well as the janitor, right? I get it. So across businesses, sales, quote unquote, looks different. The sales team looks different. But in the end, it's not supporting the sales process means that you don't use the website or look at the website as a sales tool. You may even be embarrassed to have people take a look at your website. I hear that a lot. It doesn't help. It's got bad information, or it confuses people, or it's easier just to pick up the phone, right? So if you are thinking that, if you are feeling that, then the ability for you to fix that, it's more than just new paint. It's more than just a new glossy look, right? Isn't it? And the other thing I hear a lot is it doesn't reflect who we are as a company. Like the company that I would see and meet and experience as a customer is not the company that I see online, and there's many reasons for that. It might have been a while since we've updated it, or things have evolved quickly, or we just haven't thought about the website. But primarily it's because we don't see the website as anything more than just a brochure, which leads to, right, the salespeople not trusting it, which leads to it doesn't bring in new business. Okay. So if any of this is resonating, if the website's not generating leads, if it's not being part of the sales process, there's usually 3 big picture reasons for that. Okay, the first one is the messaging isn't connecting. What you're saying, what you're showing isn't connecting with what your customers actually care about. Okay, so on the Practical Marketing Show podcast website, practicalmarketingshow.com, I'm going to put an exercise here that you can go through to help you and others in your team define some of the characteristics of your best customers, okay, what they care about. But the messaging, you've heard me also say in other episodes, perhaps the we versus you test. If your copy has a lot of we in it, we are, we do, right? We provide, rather than you, right? The word you, then you've got the wrong focus perhaps on the copy. You should be focusing on, but whatever you have in that messaging is not connecting with what your customers care about. Another reason that it's not performing as a sales agent is you're probably not providing the critical information or answering the important questions that customers have that help you build trust, okay? Educating them, becoming the advisor of choice, becoming that voice of authority that allows them to see that you know not only what you're talking about and what you're doing, but you understand them, okay? Back to the customer again. And we'll talk about this in a second because this is an important one. It's a common one, and you're probably going to be able to understand and find 1 or 2 things in your own business when I bring this exercise up in a second. Okay. And the third reason that it typically doesn't help the sales process, or you're not getting leads as much as you want, is the site really doesn't guide visitors through any kind of natural journey to enable them to see what they're supposed to do next or how it works, right? Again, back to the brochure thing. Or there's too much information conflicting with each other and it's confusing. So a quick side story and then an exercise for you. Years ago, we had a building supply client that came and said, we need to redo our website. A fairly good sized company. And they said, we got to redo our website. Of course, I always ask why. And they say, because it's horrible. All the things I just shared with you, right? It doesn't look good, da-da-da. I said, okay, but feelings, right? Feelings is not a metric for me. It's not a business metric. Feel good, right? Or feel better or whatever. It's not a metric. So really, what are we trying to do? How do I know, outside of feelings, like how do I know if this is a success? How do I know if what you're putting your money and time into actually worked or solve a problem? So let's talk about the problems, right? And so it came down to organization. And yes, they wanted more leads, but they also shared with me that they have a busy season in their business calendar. They had a really defined business season. It was cyclical. And during that busy season, they are getting, let's just say, X number of quotes. Okay. And they had a 5-year window where they measured, and it was fairly consistent. They always got this many quotes. And it was interesting because they shared with me, we don't want that to decrease. We know how many we typically get. I don't want that to decrease. So I said, well, what if it increases? And they said, well, we don't think it will, but so that's what we're doing, right? That's why we're doing this, is to build a business case here. And so through the interviewing process, and this is not rocket science, y'all, this is really basic stuff, but sometimes we miss the basic stuff because we think it's too basic, right? So I said, what is it that people come to you for in the busy season? And she said, quotes. Right. So they're a building supply company. Contractors come and get quotes so they can bid projects and hopefully win the work. I said, okay. And here's what I noticed. Really, there was no place. If you were a contractor, there were 157 pages in this website, whatever large number, every product and every spec and all the pictures and stuff. But there was not a place, a button, a page that said, get a quote. So if you're here to get a quote, push this button, right? So people had to really spend some mental calories trying to figure out where they're supposed to go, and they'd fill out the contact form and try to cram a bunch of stuff into the messaging field of the contact form. So there was nothing, there was no system, there was no button, there was no place to say, if you're here to get a quote, this is what you do and this is where you go. So yeah, we made it prettier, and yes, we applied some best practices from a design point of view, and yes, we made it mobile friendly and all that kind of stuff. But here's the kicker. We added a button. I mean, again, super simple stuff, right? we added a button in the header that said get a quote. And their quotes increased that season almost 600%. It's not rocket science, right? We're dealing with humans, but they were so close to it. I had an associate tell me once that some people can't see the forest through the trees, right? But some people are so close to the tree that they're chewing on the bark, right? And so they were so close to this that they couldn't see the obvious, which is our website really is designed to get quotes from contractors. So if that's your number one goal, let's make it super simple and easy for contractors to give you a quote. And I've seen this in businesses large and small, right? In fact, larger gets more complex because there's so much more stuff on it that the simple stuff gets overlooked, okay? So if we're not addressing the real concerns, if the content's not answering critical questions, if we're not building confidence in our buyers, if we're not making it super easy for people to do what they want to do and what we want them to do, then yeah, we're going to run into a situation where the website, quote unquote, is bad, okay? But again, I want to say if you feel like your website is bad, just moving it to a new platform or putting a new glossy spin on it or making it look, quote unquote, more modern is not going to fix the problems, okay? So we've got to get our messaging right. What would work? How do we not waste money, right? That's the key of this episode is if you're going to do this, how do we not waste money? Well, the first thing I would say to you is evaluate whether or not you actually need to spend money on a new one to begin with. Because if you have access to your site and you can maintain your website from some sort of content management system, a lot of the stuff that you're going to see in the website success series articles that I'm talking about, that I'm linking to the show notes, you are going to be able to evaluate and do on your own. Yeah, you might need some outside help. I get it. From an objective point of view, strategy point of view, maybe there's some graphic things you need to update that you can't do yourself. But I'm going to tell you, at least 80% of the stuff that could make your website better tomorrow is stuff that you could probably do at your desk today, right? Let me kick on that for a second. I think 80% of the stuff that would make your website better, you could be doing at your desk today, okay? And the Website Success Series articles kind of lays that out in a very practical and simple way, things that you should be looking at, right? So take an honest evaluation of your messaging, right? Understanding your customers. Are you talking to them? Are you making it super easy? Focus on those foundations, right? Before you spend any money on any graphics, on any what we call platform change, right? Moving from HubSpot to WordPress or whatever it might be. Before you do any of that, make sure you understand the sales process. Now, here's the exercise I talked about. Ask your sales team, ask the people that respond to emails and take phone calls. Do they get the same questions over and over again? If there's one thing that they could eliminate or make easier in their day that the website could help with, this is the question you ask. If the website could help you solve a problem, if the website could provide information to the thing that people ask the most, what would that be? Ask that of your sales team or even your service team for that matter. And you're going to hear some things that are super simple and obvious. But you know what? If it's happening over and over again, then we've missed it in the website, okay? I've got a manufacturing client. I mentioned this in another episode. I've got a manufacturing client that did a fantastic job showing their process and their product and their company and did a really great job. And they were getting emails. 60+% of the emails that came from their website was a variation of the question, how do I order? Because they forgot to tell people how to order. It wasn't easy. So they created a page and a bunch of resources, literally put it in the menu, how to order. Those emails went away. When I asked the sales team, what's the one thing this website could do for you to save you time and make your day more efficient and allow you to spend time on more valuable stuff? It was answering questions to people over and over again about how do I order, right? So that eliminated a huge problem. I've seen this in other companies where you just ask your sales team, if the website could solve one thing, if the website could solve an answer or provide information or take one thing off your plate, what would it be, right? Ask that question of your sales team and you're going to get some really simple things. And they're going to thank you for asking, by the way. They're going to go, I answer this question all the time, or people are asking me about this all the time. Do you think we could put that on the website? Do you think we could solve that problem with the website? Now, that's not about a glossier look and feel or spending money on a platform change. That's just thinking about how could this thing that we've already paid for, the thing that we use every day, how could we make it more valuable for the sales team? How could we make it easier and more valuable for the customer? How can we make it better for our business, right? And so the majority, and this is coming from 25 years of doing this, the majority of problems that people have with their website has literally nothing to do with photos and graphics. It has everything to do with basic foundations. And I want to share with you how you can fix that today. Okay? That's what this episode is about. Things to think about, resources, best practices, messaging, making it super simple. And again, on the website, practicalmarketingshow.com, I linked to all of the articles in that website success series. Sit down with the team, ask them those questions. Take a look at your website from a sales point of view, and I guarantee you that you'll have opportunities to make it better, probably without spending a dime. But if you do go, and this was the reason I wanted to do this episode, if you do go and spend any money, I don't want you to waste it, okay? So this is the stuff that you do first so that the money you do spend is not wasted, okay? All right, hey, there it is. A lot of stuff on the website. Go check it out. Big topic. I see this from 1 person, 2 person companies all the way up to 100 people companies. I mean, it's very, very common. So if you're thinking about building or redesigning a website or just wondering why is my website not working, however you define not working, I hope there was some tips here that will help you out, okay? All right, that's the show. So until next time, be good. Talk soon.